Hello there, Bic Benedict here. We're playing God of War 1 on God difficulty, and this is my guide and walkthrough. We're currently on part 39, and it is entitled The Path of Hades. Kratos' hell is definitely my heaven because I absolutely love this section of the game, even though it doesn't have the greatest fights, and at first it has very poor checkpointing going on with it. So when you get up to the first couple of sections up here with the Legionnaires, the game doesn't checkpoint until you get up to the third level and proceed down the way a little bit until you reach the Vertebrae Bridge. I'm not going to go all the way down there, but once you get to the top level, where I just was and where I jumped from, you need to go down the path a little bit until you get to the Vertebrae Bridge section, and then you can safely reset the checkpoint, and it will put you up here. If you don't do that, what happens? Well, if you die up here, or if you're trying to do this no damage like I was trying to do it, and which I did, if you make any mistakes, you'll have to restart from the very beginning of the section where the save point is. So it's not too accommodating for good checkpoints over there. But we can just adapt and do what I did over there. So Hades is going to consist of 3 sections. The first 2 are going to be no damage. The third section, which contains the Hades, what are the Hades satyrs? That is not going to be done no damage because I was. It's hard. It's just hard, plain hard to do it no damage. So that's not going to be done no damage. But in this section, we are going to be dealing with all of the flaming creatures, and we're going to be doing a lot of maneuvering with platforming and experimenting with crossing perilous gaps and avoiding danger. So once you start doing this, you're probably going to be really intimidated, because if you're anything like me, sections where you just instantly die if you make a mistake can be rather difficult until they're practiced. But once you get enough practice, you can actually be going quite fast on these areas, which is what I'm going to do. And also, and I apologize if you're not interested in going on the optional paths, I am going to be going on all of the paths. So I will tell you every time you get a checkpoint. So at this point in time, we don't have a checkpoint, but we're going to get one right over here. Right over here. That's a checkpoint right there. Now I'm going to be going down this optional path over here, and the bad thing about this, because I was doing this no damage, when you get to the next Hades archer, and by the way, these Hades archers, they have a little bit more HP than standard archers, because they actually take 3 punches before he cuts them with the if you just grab them and mash circle, it's 3 punches as opposed to what it usually is, which is 2, and then he cuts them. So that's that. Anyway, but over here, this section is, and I forgot that chest for some reason because I was so, I had tunnel vision over here because I had to reset the whole section over here because this guy damaged me and it checkpointed me with damage. So here's the site of another checkpoint, and we're also going to be going over to the right and going on an optional path. But this section that's coming up over here, it's unfortunate, but you can actually be checkpointed with damage on your person, so that's something that I don't like anywhere. And when it happens down here, I get really frustrated because, for me, it was a mandatory section restart. For you, it doesn't have to be, of course, if you're not doing this, no damage. And again, I apologize if you're not interested in going down these optional paths to get these other things, but these rollers that you're maneuvering on, they're actually not that bad. If you just can't make much progress and you keep falling off, just be a little bit more patient with it and wait until it stops moving, and then you can go more safely. But here is where you're almost going to get a checkpoint at this point, but right when you land on his platform is where you get a checkpoint. So I did take damage one time, and it, in very frustrating fashion, it checkpointed me with damage, and I was fucking pissed. So I have to count on this guy to be a little inaccurate and for myself and to get a little luck, and that was exactly what happened. And right there is a checkpoint too. So now we're going to be going on an optional path over here. We're going to be dealing with quite a lot of the Hades Harpies. Now these are the ones that will dash off of the screen and do that kamikaze blast on the ground, which should kill them. But you're actually really safe if you want to do this. You're really safe by just continually grabbing them. For some reason, they seem to all, as a group, they seem to tame if you do this. Now, if you're doing regular combat and things like that, they're going to dash off the screen and come at you, and you need to put your block up at that moment. But from what I experienced over here, if you keep grabbing, it's really good as far as them not doing the kamikaze, because the kamikaze is hard enough to deal with, but look at the platform we're on. We can hardly have anywhere to move freely. So and also they can get trapped under here. But if you are wanting to do this a little bit easier, if you just cast the Army of Hades, it's very effective with dealing these birds their death and handing it to them. Okay, so I've realized that one of the birds is trapped into the platform, so I'm going to have to make my move, go down. This happens sometimes. Sometimes also some of the birds will just be in other areas and you're going to have to deal with them. So what I would say is just get to safety and then just immediately start grabbing. Now, the way that we need to go to get the checkpoint is all the way over across 3 rollers to the next area, and I'll tell you exactly where it is. It's coming up over here. Now, which way is the easiest way? It kind of depends. The thing is too, when you're going down on the rollers, you don't have too much visibility because the screen is opening up below you all the time, so you have less of a chance to react and less preparation time. Like in an instance like right now, you've got to really think on the spur of the moment. But over here, and also just feel free to just jump too. Okay, barely survived. Here's the next checkpoint. Not now, but like right over, like right there. That's the checkpoint. And also, somebody mentioned, why didn't you premiere the, you know how you do the Hades the harpoon, Orion's harpoon, and aim it at other enemies? Why didn't you premiere that earlier in the walkthrough? The reason for that was because that's more of an advanced tactic, and I wanted to gradually just kind of introduce it as the walkthrough went on. I think I did it a little bit too late, but topics have to be introduced at their own time, so that's the reason why I didn't do it. And advanced tactics have to be talked about later in a guide anyway, so that's why that was done that way. Okay, this is where we're going to get our next save point. That has been the first section of Hades. I will see you in the next, and please take care. For Bic Benedict Productions, this is Bic, and I will leave you now to take care.